someone was out here alone. One melody is like me out here alone. I can't really live like this. They kept themselves company with music. Two voices is like me and my mom. We can survive, but eventually you need more. Three voices is complex as life is supposed to be. I could listen forever. Looks like they made it out of here. But what is this group? In the empty places, I found companionship in the tapes I recorded before leaving home. The elder told me the story of her life. I listened back to it, ready to note down anything that seemed important.
Let's set the scene for the listener, whoever that might be. This is the elder speaking. We're sitting in the plaza, saying goodbye to a dear soul. We're here to see if there's anything useful in my mind that could help you on your trip. A century's worth of memories, dreams, fantasies, visions, like a big, old, haunted library. When I die, this library will burn down. But which book should we check out first? I don't have all the answers, but I do feel the story of my life could help you understand what kind of world is out there. It's okay not to understand everything right away. The moment may pass before you've gotten a firm hold on it, but as long as you're there to witness it, to take it down in your journal, you, and others to come, will someday take the time to make sense of it all. First, I got old. That's an important step. Being an elder is all about how you react to strange events. The key is not to be surprised, but kind of frown, look serious, and say something like, "It begins." Never say, "I don't know." Say, "We dive into a pool of uncertainty." I was born on the ocean. My mother and father worked on a cruise ship. The short-lived but glorious watery republics. Floating cities. Most won their independence by the time I was born. How can I describe them? They were a jewel of the golden season. Pleasure boats with a radical political program. How nice. The golden age was a time of flags, logos, mottos, mastheads. My mom taught me to read them. She was the ship's philosopher. My dad was a recycling engineer. Recycling on the ship was a matter of life and death. We had to get the most out of every object and watt of energy. My grandparents played with the past. They changed it like we change our wardrobe. So it was a different answer every time. But they often said we were exiles of some kind. Exiled royalty from a secret lineage. Blood, or we were exiled from the mouth of some great leviathan. When they were older, they just said, "We're from here. We're from right now." I loved the way the ship would tilt and roll with the waves, especially as I fell asleep. It was so comforting. Picture me as a kid in bed, feeling the swaying of the ship. It was like being rocked to sleep as a baby. I loved exploring the ship too. Wandering through the suites, the swimming pool, the game rooms, and there were 2 dance halls. A large, elegant one and another one. A lot of my firsts were down there. My first dance, my first kiss, and so forth. Our ship was taken over in the early days of the war. That was the end of the watery republics. I heard the dance hall in the basement became a weapons cache. It took me half my life to say goodbye to the world I knew in my youth. Imagine me and my parents and everyone I knew being escorted off the ship by a company of soldiers. And I'm thinking, I hope they don't make a mess of my room. I was embarrassed by the younger kids who were crying their eyes out, but they knew, I guess. Even as things got bad, I couldn't imagine that changes were permanent. It's easy now to look back and say, the internationalism of the golden season was violently breaking down. You can be naive about all kinds of things, but not war. Most of my life has been spent in isolated communities, and the one moment I was in the wild world, you couldn't pick a more chaotic time. And we had been warned this season was going to end. Oh, but we didn't understand the warning. You see, one night, along a coastline, we saw beautiful lights shimmering above the water. Later, we found out this was an ancient warning system. It hadn't been used in so long. We didn't know what it meant. We just thought, well, ain't that pretty? We tried to stick together and camped out on the coast of the Prismatic Grounds. I thought it was all temporary. I couldn't see how things would return to normal. But I was sure they would. Aside from that delusion, are you sure you want me to keep going? The story gets darker from here on. Okay, so conditions in the camp were getting worse. My mom got lost in thought for long periods of time. She'd be completely still for hours, days even. We realized she caught, now we call it time misperception disorder. It's when you lose your ability to tell how much time is passing. A minute can feel like an hour. A day can pass in 10 seconds. What's so hard is the feeling of absolute loneliness. Normally, we're all at least roughly in the same flow of time. But with this disorder, you walk alone, truly. We heard about a traveling doctor who could cure these kinds of diseases. I decided to go I found out his name was Dr. Fumio. and he traveled with his son Lucio. People talked about him like he was a god. I described my mom's condition to Dr. Fumio. He said there was no cure yet, but there was a village high in the mountains. He thought it was high enough he'd have a better chance at treatment. Lower places are more dangerous. Valleys are the worst. He invited me to join them in going to the village, but I wanted to go back and get my parents and bring them with me. I packed my things and got ready to leave the next morning. That night, my mom came to me in a dream. She was standing in a field of flowers. I'd grown since I last saw her. We were the same height. She pressed a finger hard into my palm. She taught me well. I knew the meaning of the gesture. I knew no matter what I did, I'd never see my parents again. In the morning, I told Dr. Fumio I would follow him to Karo village. The next few weeks were very physically tiring, hiking, climbing. And when we found the village, building, planting, cleaning, Fumio brought sick people from all over the world, and they got better. The treatments worked. Everyone was healing, so why couldn't I? One day, we got word the war was over. We never found out how it ended. It was like peace just swept over the earth in a split second. There was a party in the plaza to celebrate the end of the war, but I couldn't bring myself to go. Yes, it was over, but it had taken my home, my family. That night, as I was falling asleep, I felt the bed tilt and sway gently, as if it was being tossed on the waves of the ocean, as if I was back in my bedroom on the ship, as if I was back in my mother's arms, being rocked gently to sleep. I knew I was finally home, and nothing could hurt me.
I imagine coming upon a place as hidden and singular as my own village. Eventually, I found myself circling a valley, looking for a way in. This valley is asking people for a visit. I should oblige it. We never used this kind of technology in my village. Nobody trusted it. Wow, it's still working. It's still delivering power somewhere.
1 second.
I've heard sounds that can heal the mind. It feels like this noise would do the opposite.
Is that a strotophob? Yeah, what are they called? What is it? I love old gear like that. It's getting more and more rare. I had a camera, but it broke. Not that interesting of a story, I guess. What are you doing here? It is some moment we got going here. But I don't want to talk your ear off. But what kind of stuff are you recording? Oh yeah, civilization they call it. The valley would be a good place to use those tools. Too bad it's closed down. Let me finish up here, huh?
I'm not the first to do this, just the first in a long time.
Hey. This was like a second home for a while. That was fun earlier when you showed up. And I was carrying the cardboard man. You were like, who are these guys? I've been pretty bored here. You know, the valley's gonna be flooded soon. That's why nobody can go in there. The dam is falling apart. It's too old. There's nobody left who knows how to repair it. We're taking it down so we'll know when it'll collapse. It gives us time to evacuate everyone. Greyhounds. We're a community organization. We do all kinds of fun stuff. Health clinics, mine sweeping, daycare, evacuations, weddings. We're new. It was supposed to be because we're helpful yet neutral. We took a vote and decided to change the name, though. We want something more friendly sounding. I'm excited to find out what it will be. We're trying to get new things going. But it's hard. The past really has a tight grip on people. Doesn't feel like a fair fight. So we're trying to... well... anyway. It's funny. I stood guard here for a week. And I've only seen greyhounds like myself. And valley people on their way out. But now I see you, and you're like a... new element or something. I've never met anyone doing what you're doing. And we greyhounds gotta support new things. So... I'm not supposed to let anyone in. How can I? Jeez. I think you should go down into the valley and take a look. Gotta try something here. Dang it. I was trying to wink. Well, you get the idea. Go on and put that old gear to use. You can take my map of the valley, too. I don't need it anymore. I'll be down to pick everyone up around midnight. See you then.
I met a greyhound. He let me into the valley. I think he wanted me to record what the greyhounds were up to. And he gave me a map. The assembly point seemed like a good place to start. I wonder what he expects me to discover in the valley. It seems like I'll have to wait for night to enter the shrine. I'll think about what kind of visitor I want to be.